Darwin. Welcome to the stream. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. So today, I want to really finish the hammer. So hopefully it's still really, really hot today. So hopefully I don't get too terribly hot. I have actually put a fan, like an actual fan, on my capture card and my laptop. So hopefully they don't overheat and cause issues later on in the stream when it starts to get extremely hot. So I've got lots of water, so hopefully, everything is all good to go, and we should be able to finish this project today. The last couple of things that I want to do for this hammer is I want to, what they call chamfer the corners, which is squish them down, turn that square into an octagon, just to kind of soften the hammer a little bit. There's also a little bit of work that I still need to do on the cheeks and also on the crossbeam. It should take the entire stream, but we're going to do our best to finish today so we can start a brand new project on Monday. So Monday's project is going to be a new set of pickup tongs. These guys just aren't working as well as I want them to. And that's really because the surface area that actually touches the material on these particular tongs is really, really tiny. And so there's just no friction to hold that piece of steel steady. So it keeps spinning around, and I can't have that when I'm trying to, work on the piece of steel. So we are going to do a 1-week project, and we're going to make another set of pickup tongs. I've got a different design that I want to go with, and I'm going to use a few shortcuts. We're not going to drift our holes, we're going to drill our holes. A few other things just to make sure that we get that project completely done in the 3 days that I stream next week. Because the project after that, for the week after next, is going to be our first axe. So right now I have a hammer eye drift and a hammer eye punch. And I told you guys that we were going to make a axe eye drift and an axe eye punch, and we still will get to those eventually. But I really want to get an axe completed this summer. And I just don't think that I will get to the axe in time if I have to make all of those other tools first. So I have decided that I am going to make a folded forge welded axe. So it's going to be a folded bit axe as opposed to a full-on axe where I am drifting it and forging it just like we forged our hammerhead. So that is going to be our next 2 projects. Once we finish that axe, we will start working on some of those other tools. And I would like to, actually make the axe eye drift and the axe eye punch, and then make another axe, like a second axe, using the similar method that we're learning how to do with this hammer. So that is my plan. That's my goal. And I would also still like to finish that goal by, sometime in the mid-fall. I want to start doing some other projects in the fall and towards the winter. But right now, that is kind of our schedule. We're going to do a pair of pickup tongs, and then we're also going to be doing an axe. So I hope you guys are as excited about these projects as I am. I am super excited. These are bucket list projects for me, and I'm really happy to be able to share them with you. But as always, these are the first time that I am doing these types of projects, so it could be a little bit on the rocky side. I won't always know exactly what the next step is going to be, and so my confidence is a little bit shaky. We will eventually get something functional by the end. I'm confident in that at least. But it might take us a little bit of extra time and a little bit of extra thought, problem solving and all that. So, I hope you guys have had an amazing last couple of days. I apologize for having such a short stream on Wednesday. Once again, I had some issues with my capture card overheating, and I really didn't want to push it to a point where it broke. It seems to be doing pretty well today, as you can kind of tell. If I move the two cameras, you can kind of see I actually have some pretty good views, and it like the capture card's functioning beautifully. So we should have a pretty uneventful stream today. And like I said, my goal is to finish this hammer. So, welcome to the stream, everyone. Let me check my metal. We're starting to get a little on the warm side. I definitely want to flip it over so that I can get a little bit more heat on the other side. I just started this forge like right before I started the stream, so not quite as hot as it could be, but you know, we're making it work. All right. So I'm excited to say that tomorrow we are going to be picking up our van. And it's just like a regular cargo van. It is a Chevy Express cargo van. There's like nothing in the back. It does have a bulkhead though. So you've got like the cab, and then there's kind of a wall behind the driver and passenger seat. So, and then the I guess the back end is completely empty. So it's going to be fun trying to fill that and turn it into a mobile studio / camper. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that process with you guys. That's probably going to be more of a YouTube thing than a stream thing, just so that we can keep on topic with the stream, as well as, you know, get some fire and some hammering and going on. But I will be sharing the process of this van, like putting it together on my YouTube channel, either with shorts or with long form videos. I haven't quite decided what we're going to do with that yet. So yeah, hopefully you guys are looking forward to it as much as I am. And it should make traveling to conferences and blacksmith shops and, you know, being more mobile a little bit on the easier side. Hopefully we won't need as many hotel rooms, and that might cut down the cost a little bit. And, you know, we'll see what happens. So once again, today or this week's propane tank is brought to us by Sandwich, who generously donated $25 to my KoFi. So thank you, Sandwich. You're probably not in yet, but, you know, thank you anyway. Let's see. What else do I have to say? I don't know yet. I've pretty much covered most of the things that I really wanted to talk about today in the beginning. Most of the things that I kind of had listed out. Let's see. But yeah, so this hammer should be done by the end of this stream. If it's, or I guess done forging by the end of the stream. There is a lot of grinding that will be left to do after this hammer is completed, and I will not be doing that on stream. And the reason I will not be doing that on stream is because there aren't any really good natural breakpoints for me to interact with you guys. And interacting with you guys is one of my favorite things to do. So I will be doing that on my own time, and I'll show a couple clips of that in the overview video that we do make for this hammer. But like I said, I just don't want to sit there and have you guys watch me grind stuff. I mean, there's plenty of other people on Twitch that, if you want to watch material reduction, you know, and it's not that it's like boring to watch or that maybe you wouldn't want to. It's just I don't like doing it, and I think it's boring, and I just don't want to stream that. So yeah, so we are going to start a new project on Monday. Welcome in, Teller. Hello. It is good to see you all. Let's see. So the first thing that I want to do today, or like for my first heat, is I really want to kind of work a little bit on the cross peen section of our hammer. Right now, that cross peen section is kind of tilted down in one direction, and I kind of want to correct that. I also want to squish it down a little bit further. I have a very wide cross peen on this particular hammer, and I kind of want to have a smaller cross peen on the hammer that we're making. So I'll probably use the fullering dies that I've made on the press right now, and we'll squish that down just a little bit further. I also want to take the corners off of that separation between the hammerhead and the handle, and we will kind of turn that from a square into an octagon. From there, we're probably going to change dies and go back to our combo dies and work a little bit on making it look a little bit prettier. Everything that I do from this point on is saving me time at the grinder and dressing this hammer. So exciting. I hate grinding. It's like the worst part of any blacksmith project for me. So anything I can do to prevent having to do more grinding is a-okay by me. So we're gonna spend the day trying to prevent more grinding. Alrighty. Looks like we've got plenty of heat on that tail end, so I'm gonna start, I think. So let's hit that, and I think that's all right. Maybe I want to move this guy just a hair this way, so that the jaws are a little bit more in the center of the frame as I trip. I'm actually forging as I'm listening and watching. Ooh, that's exciting. I'm glad to hear that you're forging, Corwin. Okay. Let's see what we can do today. Always a little bit on the slow side, I feel like, with this particular press. Oh, well. That's what I get for being kind of shoddy with my welding. Alright. Put this back in the heat. actually have a piece of angle iron that kind of holds the dies down, and I accidentally like lost it. It broke off because of the pressure. My dies are a little bit on the shorter side than normal, so let's see if I can't. That means I'm just gonna have to make sure that this C clamp is a little bit more secure on here so this doesn't move as much. And then we might want to do something on that side. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I don't think I can use that one. Maybe I can. It might miss, but I don't think it will actually. I don't know. I might have to fix that on my next, or before the next stream. I think I'll be all right though for the most part. I was not the most, amazing welder at the time when I built this piece, so I will definitely have to fix it. Hey Jack, welcome to the stream. We are finishing up a hammer, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes all right. This is my first attempt at making a hammer, and so I've been doing a lot of problem solving as I go, and I've learned quite a lot already. Some stuff that I need to keep in mind for my next hammer and for my next axe, and anything else that I'm doing that's using a very similar process to this. I believe in you. Do not get discouraged. It's a lot of labor. Yeah, it's a lot of labor. But I mean, it is a bucket list project for me, a very dream project. So I don't mind the labor. I don't mind, the problem solving. I'm having a lot of fun with this project, and I'm really looking forward to dressing this hammer and putting a handle on it and seeing if I can't put it to use. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. And I'm not entirely, it would be really cool if I could use this hammer on Monday, but I don't think I'll get a hammer on it in time. So we might be using that hammer for our project after that, which is a folded axe. So I think for my next heat, we're gonna come over here to the anvil. Wow, that was a fun thing to forget the word for, anvil. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Anyway, so we're gonna straighten out the cross peen a little bit. We started to with the press, but I think I really want to see if I can't do a little bit more on the anvil face. So we're gonna do one heat on the anvil, and then we'll probably do a little bit more on the press. So I'm gonna move the camera. That way you guys can see up close what I'm up to. Alright. Manual focus. It's all fancy and stuff. There it goes. Fancy. I'm learning though. I feel like I'm learning, or I'm starting to really get used to, moving the cameras and kind of working with all of the technology. For a while, I was like really, really struggling, but I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on it. So hopefully, the stream just gets better and better. So it is super hot today. We are under a heat advisory here. I've got the industrial fan going. I've got a mini fan going as well. So I'm hoping to keep at least cool enough that I can spend a decent amount of time in here today, as opposed to, you know, the hour that I was able to do on Wednesday. But you know, I gotta keep healthy. I gotta keep my kidneys nice and clean. So if I do end up having to end the stream a little bit early, I apologize in advance for that. I don't see that as an option though, or not as an option, but like as a possibility though. I think that we'll be all right. Okay, we've got some heat going, and I am gonna, let's see. Welcome in, Bluesy. Welcome in. I think that'll be an all right thing or position for the inset. All right, so we're coming over here to, or I could like, there we go. That's better. This is totally why my next project is going to be another set of pickup tongs, man. These pickup tongs suck. You know, it helps when you don't have other pieces of steel just like randomly sitting on top of your anvil, you know? Alright, I think I might actually do another heat or two on this. Just to kind of, I've moved it a little bit, but not as much as I want. So I'm going to try another heat, but I do need to get some more heat on the steel. It's going to be a slow process, but it's coming, it's going to happen. My sound crashed on Firefox, so I switched to Chromium. Sorry about that. Oh, that's no problem. I know very well the kinds of computer problems that can happen, you know, both on my end, on you, and on you guys' end. So, you know, we're just happy to have you while you're around, you know? So yeah, not happy with these pickup tongs. That is one thing that I am learning. These are not a very good set of pickup tongs, so we're definitely going to make a new set for our next project. That way, the next set, it'll just be a little bit easier to pick up and hold the large amounts of steel. I need a little bit more surface area contact to get a little bit more friction so that the steel doesn't spin around in the tongs. Oh, well, I did not see you run, so... Yeah. I try not to run most of the time. Running is hard work. What other things would be on my blacksmith bucket list? Let's see. Blacksmith bucket list. I really want to make a chef's knife. I know that's kind of more bladesmithing than blacksmithing, and I've already explained how much I absolutely hate doing sharps, but I feel like doing a Damascus steel chef knife, just to say that I've done one, is definitely on my bucket list. I have done a little bit of Damascus steel in the past, just like a little tiny bar of twist Damascus, and I made a folder out of it. And it was a terrible, terrible folder. Like the blade kind of twisted on me, and it just wasn't a straight blade. I've gotten a lot better at my grinding and stuff, so I want to revisit that. and, you know, take a look at some of that. Another bucket list project is probably, I want to make like a really good window grate. I mean, I know that's like such a simple and basic project for blacksmiths, but I want to do a really intricately designed window grate. And like a full size one. I've done a few smaller window grates under the direction of other smiths, but I've never designed one for myself. So that's definitely a bucket list project. What else? I think that it would be really, really cool to make myself an entire set of jeweler's tools, right? So everything from like pliers and like um, some like wire cutters and jeweler saw, like the frame for it. And so like I would love to do like a full set of those. That's another bucket list project. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of little projects, but that's kind of like a big thing. I'd like to do some really pretty intricate ones. I was really inspired by Nate White's when I talked to him in Indiana. So I'd love to do some of the stuff, some of the same types of projects that and I mean, it would definitely not be like permanently, because I just don't think I have the patience to do that as like my focus. But I think that they would be fun to do. Welcome in, Yankee. Look, you are a smithy. You can make your own tools. Just add 2 plates at the pickup thing. Yeah, I mean, I could. I definitely could. But they've also kind of bent a little bit, like these tongs. You can kind of see there's like a little tiny bend right here. I've kind of tried to fix it as best I can, but they just keep bending because they get really hot. So I just want to make some thicker ones. These are kind of rounded, and I saw some by, I think it's Ethan Hunt, and he had some that were rectangular in profile, and I think those would be a lot stronger than these guys. They also had a much higher, much bigger tips, so I think those would work a lot better than these. So that's one of the projects that we're gonna do next. At least that's what my wife said. Oh, it's not the size of the project, it's the inspiration it provides you. At least that's what my wife says. I mean, you know. I mean, yeah. It's not the size, it's how you use it, right? All right. We're gonna do another heat here at the anvil, and we'll see how far we get moving that cross peen upwards. Then once that is done, once we've moved that, we'll go back over to the press, work a little bit on the cheeks, and probably mostly on turning the square into an octagon. All right. Let's see if I can't like grab a better hold of this. Like I said, these tongs are kind of shitty. Whoops, I said a bad word again. I'm sorry, guys. All right. Goodness gracious. Like I said, I'm not amazingly good at this yet. You know what? Let's get some more heat, and then I will figure this out. More problem solving. I'll get it. Definitely will get it eventually. I kind of feel like if I can't get it here at the anvil, once I change the press dies to the combo dies, I should be able to get it under the flat dies to straighten up real nice. So hopefully, you know, we can do it here at the anvil because I want to kind of, I want to do that before I start working on some of the other stuff. But if nothing else, we'll be able to do it under the combo dies. I'm pretty sure. So how about you guys? Do you guys have any, you guys who are actually like blacksmiths or woodworkers or craftsmen of all types, you know, what are you guys' bucket lists? You know, I'll need to know what type of craftsman you are if you're not a blacksmith, but what are you guys' bucket list projects? I think my most recent bucket list forging was a lock. Interesting. I have seen a lot of people do locks, and I've thought about doing them, but I don't know. I think it's on a list of projects that I will probably look at some point, but it just hasn't made the bucket list, you know? Yankee says finish handles for all my axes, and it's not looking good. Why isn't it looking good? Are you still having trouble with your shoulders? Corin says a sword, a Damascus knife, hammers, and axes. Those are all really good bucket list projects. A sword was definitely a bucket list project for me for quite some time until I actually was able to make them. And then I just realized at that point that sharps just were not for me. It's just because I spent more time actually doing the grinds than I did actually forging out the sword. And it's like, I'm a blacksmith, I'm not a grinder, you know? And it's just, I'm not a big person I'm not a big finisher person. That's a really bad thing for me to say, but I hate finishing projects. And I'm just really bad at it. Not that I'm not capable, just that I don't like it. Yes, swords and knives are 75% grinding. They definitely are. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of grinding. I'm capable of doing it. I'm getting better at it. I've gotten to a point where I can do a really nice straight grind, and so it's not going to twist or bend anymore. I don't know. I just don't like it, you know? I spent in like 8 months doing nothing but polishing stuff. So, you know, I got tired of it. And I know that's like a ridiculously short amount of time to be a apprentice jeweler, but I don't know. I just don't like it. So we got an ad starting soon. So I'm going to allow the ads to play before I do my next heat. I'll probably take the next heat here on the anvil face. It'll probably actually be on the horn itself. And I might actually move the camera over so that it's more centered. I also need to grab another water. So I'm going to do that. But yeah. You guys' bucket list projects are like definitely bucket list projects for me too. Some of them I have done and others are just on my bucket list, you know? All right, mo water, mo water. Keep those kidneys hydrated. So I'm gonna move this guy over here. There we go. Much more better. And we'll hit record on that. Are we doing the ad? We are doing the ad. So yeah. There are a few things that I would like to do in other disciplines. I don't know that I can really say that those are my bucket list projects for me, but there are a couple things like in woodworking that I'd really like to be able to do. I think there's a few things I'd like to learn to do more, I guess. I'm really, really bad at woodworking, and I do a lot of furniture, so it would be really nice to kind of learn how to use like a planer and, like actually make some nice smooth furniture tops and things. So while that's not really a bucket list project for me, it's something that it's on my list of skills to learn, I think. Aragon 1939. Jocelyn does stock removal. That's about 90% grinding. Yeah, it definitely, or Johnson does 90% stock removal. And I mean, yeah, there you can make some really amazing, just stainless steel stock removal knives that work absolutely gorgeously. Chef knives, pocket knives. And I mean, it's a respectable discipline. I don't enjoy it. I'm not one of the people that are like, if you're not forging your knives, then you're not a knife maker. But I personally do not like grinding. Alrighty, let us do one more heat here on the Horde of the Anvil. I'm going to see if I can't do that. If not, we'll kind of move on to the press again, because I just want to make sure that we keep on moving. Maybe I'll put that over there, because we're going to be on the horn. John cannot do the hammering. Yeah, I've talked to him about that. We kind of discussed power hammers a little bit. But that's a whole thing too. It's starting to move, guys. It's starting to move. See if I can't come over here like so, maybe. I think we're gonna have to end up going over to the press. I think it'll work. I think I'm gonna need to use the press. I'm not getting enough power with the hand hammer. So we're gonna get some more heat, and then we're gonna do a little bit of work under the press. Check out the Rivers Experience on YouTube. He does a lot of forge to finish knives that require minimal grinding after heat treat. Hey, your hammer is a power hammer. It multiplies the power you apply to the piece. It definitely does, This hammer it's really nicely weighted. It does a lot of really good forging, and I have used it to hand forge some really nice things, like even large scale things. I actually hand hammered the bevel on this stake here, right? So yeah, there is a little bit of grinding on here, but most of this I actually hand forged with this hammer, So I have done some heavy forging with that guy, with my own arm. This is another really fun, really large project that I did. I did not draw this down by hand. I did use a power hammer, but I did all of the waves with a hand hammer, with this hammer. on this anvil. So this is a sinusoidal stake, and this is actually a stake specifically designed for cuffs, so like arm cuffs, where they have like a U-shaped profile. So kind of like an hourglass shaped cuff. So this is what the tool that you use to make those. I haven't made one in a long time. It gives you that like double curve shape. They're really cool. I like them a lot. We'll probably get to that at some point in the future. Nice. You know that the way to sharpen a scythe is with a hammer and an anvil. I mean, it can be, yeah. Someday I will build a power hammer. See, I don't know that I really want to build a power hammer. I think I just want to buy a power hammer. I just don't have. I get to this point where I feel like I can make one cheaper than I could just buy one. But the amount of time and effort that it would take me to make my own power hammer, I feel like I could just buy one, have it set up, and just go. You know, I feel like, and I don't think that I would be able to create one or make one that would be as good as if I just bought one, you know? I mean, it's nice to, like, I want to know how to, like, fix the power hammers that I buy, but I don't think that I have to build the power hammer in order to get that. And I totally respect the people that do want to make that. It's a lot of effort for me personally. There's one in Des Moines for around $6,000, but I don't have that much money or space. And then the Virginia Institute of Blacksmithing has a power hammer building class every year that you leave with one. And I've totally seen several classes like that where you do actually leave with a power hammer and they just teach you how to build it and stuff. But I'm getting a lot better with my stamina, but I still only have about a half day's work time. And a lot of those classes are like all day classes, like, you know, for like 8-10 hours to get those finished on time. And I just don't have the stamina yet. I'm working on it. I'm still getting gains. We are up to like 4 or 5 hours where I can be up and about doing things. Which is a lot better than the 1 hour that I was up to back in November of last year. So I have gained so much from streaming and having fun with you guys and, you know, just working towards getting my stamina back. But I'm just not there yet. All right, I'm going to move the camera over to the press since that's what we're going to do next. Hit up that and restart that camera. But yeah, I would love to have a power hammer, but right now I just don't have the space and the money for one. I suppose that's a lie. I do kind of have the space for one, but my partner does not want to have the power hammer shake the foundation because we've kind of got a bad foundation. You can quite easily build a manual power hammer, just 2 cogs and a camshaft. The big weight on the shaft connected to the camshaft, tiny cog with a crank, huge cog turning the can. Yeah, and I mean, those are really, you know, those work pretty well too. I mean, there's something to be said about like the simplistic power hammers that like even like the ones that run by crank or the ones that run off of a water mill and things like that. Those work beautifully. I just don't have I don't know. I guess I'm just like looking for a specific type maybe. I don't know. But I definitely don't want to shake my foundation. So whatever I get, if it's in this shop, it's got to be kind of a smaller one. And I want something that's going to make a little bit, or my work go a little faster, if that makes sense. They are basic, but they work. Yeah. I would also, I mean, there are also like, just like the treadle hammers and like screw presses. Those are also really amazing pieces of tooling and, amazing machines. You can actually get a lot of work out of simplistic pieces. All right, I'm gonna do another heat. Put you guys right there. And I think I'm actually gonna switch tongs to these guys. I'll be able to hold this guy a little bit more firmly on the press with these guys. So what I'm trying to do right now is kind of take the corners off of this, the inset here. Kind of make them a little bit prettier. So we're holding this at a 45 degrees and switch it. I'm going to take a look at this guy. That's looking pretty good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I kind of wanted to round that out a little bit just so that there aren't a lot of really harsh corners on that. So I'm liking what that's happening. All right. Back in the fire, and then we're going to start working a little bit more on these cheeks. I just want to go over them one more time. Looks like the capture card is staying pretty relatively cool, so hopefully we won't have any problems where it just doesn't change cameras anymore. I'm hoping that this is enough cool air. So like I said, I kind of want to do a little bit of work on those cheeks, kind of spread them out just a little bit further. From there, we are going to change the dies to the combo dies because I want to take those corners off that head of the hammer. So that main face, the peen section of the hammer, I just want to turn that into an octagon from that square shape that we've got. I just want to make it a little bit prettier, I guess, maybe. And then, like I said, I also think that we're going to be able to straighten out that back peen a little bit better with, or like the cross peen section on the combo dies. Very, very warm today. So we're not quite as hot as we were on Wednesday. We are probably, like on Wednesday, we were about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 37 degrees Celsius. Today, we're probably about 92, 95, somewhere in there. So it's a little bit cooler, not quite as hot, but you know, I am still sweating pretty bad. Sweating. So I'm gonna take this guy. We're gonna bring him over here. I'll put these guys away over there. And because we're working on the cheats, we are going to hammer the drift in there to kind of hold that hole open so that I don't crush it. And then we're going to use that as a backing to kind of squish them out a little bit. Let's see. What else can we talk about today? So this weekend I have my plan is to actually film myself making the raise part of the raise smithy sign, and I've said that for the past 3 weeks in a row. In the last 2 weeks I was a little bit too tired by Sunday because of everything that we did on the weekend. But this time I like kind of have to. I've pussyfooted around, delayed a little bit too long, and you know, I definitely have to do that. So that is going to happen this weekend. You'll see the video within the next couple of weeks. And you'll probably see the sign up there maybe Monday, maybe Wednesday, depending on if I can finish it in time this weekend. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on. Like I said, we're almost done with this hammer, so I'll be doing a lot of the dressing and grinding on this hammer this weekend as well. So this weekend is going to be pretty busy. And I've got a couple other things that we're doing. I gotta take a look at my roof. So it's been really, really rainy lately, and we have a really old roof. And it really needs replacing, but it's just not something that's in the cards right now. So we have to go and get up on the roof and kind of make sure that we look around for a couple places that we think there's water coming in. So the ceiling in our living room is getting a little bit damp when it starts raining really hard. So we want to go up there and see if we can't find those holes and plug them up with some like tar sealant and waterproofing. So hopefully we can find those and get those taken care of. Otherwise, I guess we'll have to tarp it. It's going to take a little bit of time before we're able to put the roof on, or I guess put a new roof on. But yeah, roofs are expensive nowadays. Really, really expensive. And I mean, really, I don't blame people because people have to be able to like eat, you know. And the workmen, there's like many workmen come to fix your roof when you get a new one, and they all have to eat. They all have to, you know, get paid. So I don't blame them for having so much, or you know, for the roof costing so much. Also, I feel like the materials have been going up steadily recently. I guess locally more, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, the prices of stuff has just been going up a little bit. Alright, I am going to do another heat. Alright, so I gotta put the and then drop it. All right. All right, I'm gonna grab some more heat. There that went. All right, back in the fire. Let's see. Doing my best to keep this guy relatively cool so that it doesn't start moving on us. Nobody saw you drop it. Well, that's good, you know. But you know what? I drop things all the time, so it's all right if people didn't see me drop it. It was in the little inset, so, you know, it was probably really tiny. So maybe, you know. I am almost through my second water today. This is going to be one of those days, I think. Definitely one of those days. Let's see. What else is going on? I don't know. I've pretty much covered most of the things that are going on in this area. Or, like, you know, in Ray's Smithy land. I got to see my siblings yesterday. We had a nice talk, and we sat down. We, you know, talked about life and movies and some video games and things like that. We went and got some sandwiches, and we went to the comic shop in the mall. We're pretty big geeks. We do a lot of gaming and watching anime and, you know, comic books and things like that. So, you know, that it's always fun to go to the comic shop and the mall. There's a couple places that you can get some good, like, geeky memorabilia. So that's always fun to go and look at. Oh, I mean, we didn't see it. No, you didn't drop things. You intentionally place them violently on the ground. I do definitely place things intentionally violent on the ground, but usually it's because I'm frustrated, you know? I just start whipping tools around. That's when I know I need to go in the house and take a break, cool myself down, make sure that I'm not, you know, actually, you know, deliberately breaking tools. Goat. Hey, Dan. Welcome in. You still here, Jack? I'm not sure. earlier. Came in, said hi. Shared some of his bucket list projects. I'm gonna grab some more water. It's super hot today. Super, super hot. So Dan, do you have any bucket list projects like blacksmithing or otherwise that you'd like to get done, you know? He is hidden in a box now. The crockware and steel bending and a miniature pane jack. Yes, the railing on our deck. Ah, an around the house bucket list project. I've got some of those myself. Like I was saying earlier, I would very much like to get my roof repaired. That's on on my around the house bucket list. I also we have a deck behind the house, and the lady who owned this house before we bought it, she had it put on, and you have to wait a year before you stain or paint your fresh wood structures. And so I feel like her husband probably had built the deck or had it built, and then they left it for a year, but I think he got sick or passed away in that time. But needless to say, it never got painted or stained or sealed or anything. So by the time we bought the house, all of the deck boards were really they're cracked, and they just are warped, and they don't look good. So I need to take the entire top deck section off of our deck, all of the deck boards, and replace them all. I started doing that a couple years back, but I did not do a very good job about it or with it. And the ones that I replaced ended up also getting kind of warped because I tried to paint them immediately just because I didn't want to forget to. And so that was a major issue as well. So I just need to take the entire top portion of the deck off. All of the supports and everything are still good, but I need to replace that top deck. So it looks like we have an ad incoming. So I'm going to wait until that ad is done, and then we are going to work a little bit more on those cheeks. I think I want one more pass. We did one side, now I want to flip it over and do the other side. From there, what I want to do is change the dyes back to the combo dyes and start working on kind of making it a little bit more pretty. And from there, we'll probably, we'll finish it up with the combo dyes. Man, I inhaled my water, and now it's it went down the wrong pipe. Let's see. Gotta start getting ready for quad state. I'm really looking forward to going. I need to send a few emails, set up a few meetings, so that I can get, some good interview footage from some of the organizers and some of the presenters, if they have time. And I also have to kind of figure out, if there's any good time slots that I can, do a little bit of B-roll hunting and some shopping, and we're definitely going to do a live stream from Quad State. And what else? we're definitely going to be taking the new van, so we will be putting together that van here shortly. Like I said, we're picking that up on Saturday, so we are going to start by putting in some insulation. The back of that van is just the bare metal walls, and so we want to put in some sound dampening and some insulation, and then we're going to put in a bed and a mattress, and that way we can kind of take a siesta, or if we need to during quad state, or spend the night in there, like if we're camping. We're going to glamp as opposed to like sleeping in a tent. And then we're also thinking about putting in maybe like a couch or something. And clearly we're going to put in all of our gear, so we need like bins and stuff for the gear. I'd love to get back to quad state this year, but not sure if we can. That is understandable. I mean, not everybody, or it's kind of like you gotta decide where you're gonna take your vacation days and where you're gonna put your money and things. So I mean, I totally get it. We have to decide where we're going to vacation, or if we're just gonna stay in and stuff like that when we're thinking about going on vacation. This year we've been taking a lot of trips to blacksmithing conferences, so we probably won't actually get a vacation this year. These are kind of our work vacations, I guess. But I'm hoping that I can get a good smattering of the comings and goings of quad state. So even if you can't make it there, you'll have a good idea of what is going on. And so that is my goal, at least. Do you live on the water? I mean, decks are meant to be on a boat. Sorry, just being a nitpicker. Yeah, I mean, we just have the deck so that we could have, like, chairs and the grill on there. We also have, like, a gazebo out there, and there's some, like, swings, I guess. And so it's a really nice space. It's just, like, you have to wear shoes out there because you get splinters if you didn't. Welcome in, Chris. Welcome in. Hello. Thank you for joining the stream. But yeah, it would be kind of cool to have like a double-decker deck, boats have multiple decks, you got the top deck and like, the crew decks and things. It might be cool to have a multi-decker deck. I can see that. You do not have to wear shoes, just train your soul to wear clogs. I mean, maybe. I do have some really thick calluses on the bottom of my feet, but I still don't really want to have like giant splinters go in my feet. See, yeah. All right. I am gonna refresh my clip real fast. Whoops. As I trip on the post ice. That's not good. So many tripping hazards in a shop. Gotta be really careful about that. Alright. Should do a YT search, or a YouTube search of deck ads. A bit of insight and a chuckle. Yeah. I wear wooden clogs, homemade ones. Ooh. Do you make them yourself, or do you buy them from someone else who hand makes them? I saw a documentary once on Dutch clogs, or like a craftsman was making them. It was really interesting, actually. Did I do this right? I don't think I did, actually. Now that I'm trying it, I think I did this upside down. Let's try this again. Flip it over. Put that back in there. There we go. There. Alrighty. I think that's starting to look pretty good. It looks pretty well like a hammer to me. There it goes. Got that off real nice. Easily. So Dutch clogs are actually a Flemish invention, or at least a Flemish adaptation of the French sabot, which is a wooden overshoe. Of course, technically it's Flemish, not Dutch, because Flanders is way older than the Netherlands. But because the Netherlands were first at being independent, well, they said to call the language Netherlands Dutch. Yeah, the documentary that I watched was American made, so they're, English and America. We like to just name countries and things that make it easier for us. So sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less accurate, I feel like. But yeah, I think that it was the documentary was filmed in Denmark or something. So you watched what's his face, Roy Underhill on CBS about clogs? Probably. That's probably. I was a really little kid when I watched it. My grandma was watching it, and I think I was watching it at the same time, or I guess I was in the room at the same time. I did find it actually interesting because you have all the chisels and things, and you start making the clogs out of the wood. So yeah. I'm not amazingly good at working with chisels. I learned that when I started trying to make some grooves for a set of legs. I had these angle iron legs that went over the tabletop, and I was trying to put a groove in there so that the top of the angle iron was at the same height as the tabletop, so it was just a seamless thing. And I learned that I am terrible at using chisels, and the tabletop and the angle iron was not a seamless transition, not at all. And I wish that I had just used a miter saw, or a what is it called? It's a tool. What is it called? I don't even know what that tool is called, but I have that tool. That tool is a Where is it? I don't know what I did with it. It's probably in some toolbox somewhere, but it's like I don't know, like a miter saw or something. Like, I don't know. It's like a Dremel. I don't know. I don't remember. Hey, I have a broad axe. Will travel. I love Roy Underhill. Technically, you do not use a chisel to make claws. Or clogs. You make spoons. A router. Yes, Lucy, that's exactly what I was trying. The word I was looking for was a router. I wish I had a router, and I did buy one eventually, and it works beautifully for that process. You know, I'm still not amazing at woodworking, so I still ended up warping all of the wood, but it will look a lot better later. Roy used to bleed a lot. I can imagine, I mean, working with chisels, being really sharp, you know, constantly cutting yourself. I constantly burn myself, you know. It's a hazard of the job. Oh, I said that I was going to change the dies, and I have yet to do that. So let's do that now. Changing dies. I think I just heard my phone go off. That's all right. I'm in the middle of streaming. People can wait. All right, well, that die can go down there. And this die can go right here. That can go right there, and this die can come off like so. I am working with sharp stuff as well, so I bleed a lot as well. That's not good. You should always at least attempt to, you know, prevent yourself from getting the injuries that everybody knows you're going to get, you know? All right. Raw. Alright, there's that. And then this one needs to come down here like so. Whoopsie. Or I could drop a bunch of stuff. Which direction am I going? Righty tighty lefty loosey or lefty tighty righty loosey? I don't know. I'm really bad at this stuff, you know? I might never know. There we go. Much more better. Phew. Alright. That one should be in there pretty well. Now let's work on this one. Oh, that's making it bigger. Some days, guys, you know? Some days. Alright. Let's try and put this guy over here. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Doesn't look like it wants to. There it goes. That should be nice and on there. And then we'll bring this guy down. In our first heat, we're going to have to bring this down and use one of these lines to kind of leave it there. There we go. Should be nice and together and whatnot. Let's bring this down. We'll leave it there. Alrighty. I missed some stuff. Let me grab a paper towel real fast so I can clean off my hands. The dyes are a little on the greasy side, and I don't want to get it on my new laptop. So let me see what I missed. I often get forge splatter on my hands and arms. Feels like hot bacon grease. Ugh. Yeah, I've had that happen too. I really, really hate forge scale and like welding stuff. Welcome in, Ping. Welcome in. Lucy is a danger, or is a farmer, and you shake hands with danger. And you're right, it is righty tighty, lefty loosey. It's not gas, so right is tight, left is loose. Unless, of course, you are being extra annoying and decided every connection needs its own specialized thread. But as you are the fabricator, it's up to you. Yeah. I try to make things as simplistic as I possibly can, to be quite honest. But like I said, I'm not amazingly good with the whole righty-tighty, lefty-loosey little, or, folk thing, folk phrase, I guess, because it's right at the top and left at the bottom, So is righty-tighty from the top or from the bottom? And I know at this point in my life that it's, the righty-tighty refers to the top, typically. But then I also never know if my tool is upside down or right side up. So it gets challenging. It gets challenging. Ever seen the series Shaking Hands with Danger? Look at YouTube. How does a clock turn? Yeah, clockwise, Or, well, like, for me, when I'm looking at it, it goes this direction. But if you guys are looking at it, it goes this direction. Sounds like left and stage left or right and stage right. Yes, exactly. Human problems. My brain doesn't function like a normal person, I think, sometimes. I don't know. Okay, we have plenty of heat on this piece of steel. So, the first thing that I'm going to try and do is actually, I want to take the main face of that hammer that is currently a square, and I kind of want to turn that into an octagon. So we're going to take some of those, like the corners off, under the flat die, and then we're going to turn it around for the heat after that, and we are going to see if we can't kind of push down the tail a little bit and make sure that that's nice and in line with the rest of the piece. So that's what we're going to do. At least that's, what I'm going to try and do. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. For the moment, I am going to flip my clips. And then I'm going to flip my cameras. Oh, I need to move that down a little so you guys can see the bottom. There we go. That's a better view. My barber has a clock that turns the other direction, but that is because it is meant to be read in the mirror. The numbers are in the mirror, or mirror written as well. That is actually pretty ingenious. You know? Then the customers know what time it is, you know, in case they got a meeting or something. Alright, so like I said, we are on the 45s, and we're going to see if we can't crush those corners down a little. So that's actually relatively nice. I'm not unhappy with that. Oh, it looks like we went at it at an angle, so this one is kind of chamfered in. So I need to kind of correct that on our next heat. But overall, these aren't too bad. That's a good start. And we'll take it back over to the anvil and fix those up a little bit in a few. But first, we're going to flip this around and start trying to fix the downward turn of that cross peen. I'm actually pretty happy with this hammer. That's kind of crazy. One of these days, though, I'll learn not to doubt myself, you know? Or one of these days, I'll learn how to get my metal in the forge without burning myself. Careful, it's hot. It is hot, man. It is so hot. Like putting my whole fingers in the fire. I can definitely feel it. It is pretty clear that I don't have any hair on the backs of my fingers today. So, for our next heat, like I said, we're going to go over to the press again. One more time, we're going to try and flatten out or straighten out the plane of this hammer. We're going the cross peen is kind of low And I want to kind of straighten that out a little bit. It's not terrible, but it's going to make using that cross peen a little bit more difficult. So I want to tip it up a little bit. And from there, we're probably going to spend some time here at the anvil to kind of clean up those corners on the main face of the hammer. From here on, aside from, you know, straightening out that cross peen, everything that I do from here on is just beautifying this hammer, making sure that it's nice and pretty and it looks nice. I'm not a man, of course. Well, I've been using fire to loosen a nut earlier. Hair on my hands, no more. See, I got to a point back when I was like really heavy forging that it didn't grow. Like the hair on the back of my hand, it just never grew anymore. Eventually, after I got sick, it started growing again, and then I was like, what is that? Why is there hair on the backs of my fingers? So weird. But nowadays, you know, it's like leaving again. It's not growing back. All right. I'm gonna kind of mess around a little bit again with this piece of steel, trying to kind of make it a little bit easier to pull it out of here when we're ready to do so. There we go. That's better. I think I'm almost ready to pull it out. We got an ad starting shortly though, so once that ad is over, then I will do my next heat. Yay! I'm so excited. I haven't had any problems with the capture card today. I was, you know, I wasn't sure if the fan would be enough. It seems like it's enough. It seems like it's enough. All right, so it says that the ads are starting momentarily. Did you cool it? Cool. I did cool it. I did. I have a desk fan that's just like pointed directly at the capture card because they didn't actually have any laptop coolers at the Walmart that I went to. I was kind of disappointed because you used to be able to get like a laptop, like this, it's just like fans that sit on underneath of your laptop and on your lap, so that, you know, when your laptop gets hot, then you don't feel it on the top of your legs. So, you know. But yeah, they didn't have one, so I just got a desk fan instead. Yeah, laptop coolers are stupid if they are plugged into your laptop. They are, you know, because it takes power from your laptop, and then you have less power for the laptop itself. Man, I'm done with my water again. That's the third one today in an hour and a half. I'm starting to get to this point where my stomach feels full, but I still feel like I need more, you know, water because I feel like I'm sweating through my clothes. Yeah, I got ads going today. All the ads. But what I'm talking about isn't amazingly important, so, you know, you're not missing anything. Whew. Super hot. And I'm out of water again. Here shortly, I'll probably grab a Gatorade because I've had 3 waters, so I like to do 3 waters, 1 Gatorade, and then more water if I need it, you know, depending on how hot it is and stuff. It's a really nice hot piece of steel. I'm pretty excited about that. It should work pretty, it should move pretty well. So yeah, let's do that heat now that the ad is over. Put that there. And then I guess I gotta use these tongs. Let's see about putting it in like this. Maybe I'll do it this way. Goodness gracious. That did not help. Or maybe it did. It kind of straightened it a little bit, right? That looks like it straightened it a little. If I come over to the other side. Alright. We're going to try this. My palms are a little bit on the hot side today. Is this the right hand? This is a right hand. Put that on real fast. There we go. I need that to go down a lot faster, but it is not going down very fast at all. I'm sorry, guys. Slow and steady. Apparently wins the race. Maybe not. I don't know. It's gonna happen eventually. And I'm gonna lose all my heat, but that's alright. There we go. It's starting to move a little. Alright. We'll get some more heat. More heat, more heat. Alright, Bluesy. Have a good rest of your day. And a good night. Sleep well. Alright, that's better. Woo! Super high. Alright, I am going to go into the house and grab a Gatorade, and I will be right back. I think I have a red one. I like red so much better than blue. I always complain about blue. Maybe I should just grab the blue, because then, you know, later on I will... Oh, there's only a red. To fill the fridge again when I get done streaming. Alright. Woo. Super hot out here. It's actually really nice and cool in my house, though. Alright. I'm going to put this guy over here. How is my material going? Not too bad. It's starting to heat up. We're good to go. So why a cross peen and not a straight peen? So I'm just used to I'm just used to using cross peen hammers as opposed to straight peen. Straight peen sometimes works pretty well. I think my favorite is actually the diagonal peen, right? Because if you make the correct diagonal peen, then like you can actually stand at an angle and get a perfect 90-degree. Um, so I mean, I think they work beautifully. I will eventually probably make a few more hammers. I do want to make a straight peen, and I could totally see myself making a diagonal peen. But I had a cross peen as an example, and that's just the one that I chose to do, I guess. Now, if I was a smart lady, instead of doing a cross or a straight peen, I would have just done a rounding hammer with a straight rounding hammer. So one side is straight and the other is round. Then I wouldn't have had to do nearly as much work, like forging work. I could have just cut the hole and made some chamfers to make it look a little bit prettier, and then just left it at that. Worked at the cheeks just a little, but I wanted to do something a little bit more complex. I have this habit of deciding I want to do a project and then coming up with the most complex, the most complex style of doing that project that I can think of that's actually feasible to do, and doing that instead. So, I mean, I probably, should have done the diagonal peen, because that would have been a more complex style of doing this hammer, but instead I did a cross peen. I like cross peens. My second biggest hammer is a 4-pound Harbor Freight sledgehammer that I ground a straight peen on one side and a cross peen on the other. A lot of grinding, but I didn't have to remove the handle. Yeah. Drip die, call it done. Exactly, man. My second biggest is a 22-pound mallet. I have a 30-pound mallet, but it is a little heavy for me. I work on tractors. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because if you're trying to get a giant tractor wheel off of your tractor, in order to get the lugs off, you kind of need that, because the lugs tend to get really, really tight on there. So I don't blame you for having such a really heavy sledge, How heavy is this hammer going to be? I think it's around 2 pounds. It might be a little bit over, but I think that when I bought it, it was a 2-pound piece. I think that's what the scale said. This particular piece I bought by the pound at the local scrapyard, and I believe it weighed out to about 2 pounds. Now I have another piece of steel that's about 2.5 pounds. So yeah. And I think I said that 2 pounds is just under a kilo, if I remember correctly. And a very long pry bar. Yeah, you got to get that leverage, for getting the lugs off the tires, or getting the tires onto the axles too, 2.2 is 1 keg. Okay, so yeah, so it's just under a kilogram. Yeah, it's just under a kilogram. All right, so we have plenty of heat here now, so I am going to take this out, put it under the press. We're going to see what kind of work we can get done. I like this kegogram, right? It's like a keg, like beer or something, right? That's what it's got to be. Goodness gracious, I'm glad I don't have bangs. I would have burned them off, man. I would have burned them off. Come on. Let's see if I can't make this work for me this time. Is it gonna work? It is not. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Is it straightening? Not really. Kind of not straightening at all. So I'm gonna take this, we're gonna flip it over. And we're gonna try in this direction in hopes that maybe it will go the opposite direction, since it seems to be bending more that direction. Alright. I guess that's good enough for now. I'm going to take this back over. I'm going to call that done for the moment. I'm going to see what I can do with the grinder. And I'm going to see what I can do at the anvil. So we're going to heat this back up. Heat this back up. 2 pounds is a nice size for a hammer, but I've been tempted to move up a few ounces. Is this 1045 steel? It looks good. Is that eye big enough? I think the eye is big enough. I was actually a little bit afraid that the hole was a little bit too big. So we shall see. I can always, use the punch to kind of open it up a little bit more. I know that my drift is a little on the small side for that particular punch, but, I'll make it work. I think that the steel that I'm working with is 4140. I'm not positive, but I'm treating it like 4140. It is definitely a chromoly. It might actually be 4130 because my local steel supply shop does a lot of 4130 for people. They do a lot of because that's a really good tool steel for machining, and it was a piece of a scrap or a drop off. So yeah. We shall see. Like I said, from here on, everything else I do for the rest of the day is just going to be taking off time on, dressing this hammer at the grinder. And so I'm going to move the camera. At least I think I'm going to move the camera. It looks like I am. I think it looks like I'm moving it. Come over there. And now we're going to focus it. Focus. And then we're going to hit record because I really want to record this whole process. Whew, it's warm today. So we are almost at the 2-hour mark. I'm pretty proud of my capture card. It hasn't been acting up at all today, which is exciting. Yay. So another technological problem is potentially solved. This makes me wish it wasn't 100 degrees outside. It's totally almost 100 degrees outside of this shop, like outside. I actually think we're at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little, or it's about, I don't know, I'd say it's probably about 36 degrees Celsius, something in there. But yeah, so I am sweating my socks off. You can do this. Just make sure that in the heat. Some people can do this in the heat. It definitely depends on your tolerance, and if you are doing this, make sure you drink a lot of water. And Gatorade. Replace those electrolytes. Woohoo! I just came back inside, made my first reverse twist railroad spike bottle opener and a meat skewer. Excellent. From a piece of scrap steel. Yeah. I might have to switch to night forging. That would be great. And I would totally do that if I didn't actually have neighbors. I'm not on a farm. I kind of have a house on that side. My house is in between my shop and the next house over there, and I do have an open field on that side. But, I still like to respect people's, time. So I do really want to get an outside shop or, another shop that's, not in a neighborhood. But, you forge where you've got a shop, Hydrate, yes. Thank you so much for that message, Ping. I am totally hydrating. Yes. Highlight my message. Drink Brando. It's got electrolytes in it. It's what the plants crave. Yeah. Official or artificial Lee. You are a man of high culture. Yeah. Definitely hydrating. So I have already drank 3 of these guys. This is 16 ounces of water, so 3 of these guys, and I'm almost done with this Gatorade, or I guess I'm about halfway through this Gatorade. So once I actually stop forging for the day, I am going to spend the rest of my night in the bathroom expelling lots of liquid. Hydrate, hydrate. But once I start sweating, I guess once I stop sweating, then, I got to get rid of all that built up liquid. Alrighty, so we have plenty of heat. I'm going to take a heat here on the anvil, and we're going to see what we can do. Just a reminder, if you get a chance, could you get the details on the small forge before you go back inside? I can see about that. I was talking to Corwin yesterday about the mailbox and the different dimensions. So I'll try and get some of the dimensions, write them down so that I can give them to you guys. I'd like to actually put together a full blueprint of it, but I guess that starts by just doing all of the measurements. So I could probably do that. You are going to mark the cheek with my touch mark. Unfortunately not, because I don't actually have a touch mark. I could probably go and grab the R out of my letter set, and I probably will do that just because, I do want to acknowledge that I have made this hammer, but I don't actually have my own official touch mark made. I do have a touch mark that I would like to use, but it is not currently made. I have to have it made. All right, let's see if I can't make this work. It ain't working for me, but it might. Whoa. Let's pick this up before I set my floor on fire. It's all right. It is a flame retardant floor, which is one of the great things about this shop. All right, I think that's actually pretty decent. So I think I'm gonna flip it around like so. And we're gonna start focusing here on this face. I'm losing a lot of heat, but I can probably make a little bit of a move or a dent in it. Ouch. Scale. Oh, come on. Let me pick you up. Alright, I'm gonna get some more heat. That's starting to look like a hammer face. Let's pick up some mo heat, mo heat. Don't choke your hammer. Yeah, I definitely need to like actually, choke down on my hammer. I always do this, but I do need to choke down on my hammer. Definitely. The tongs might work better in the eye. Yeah, I mean, they will, but really, these guys, I just need to make a different set. They're kind of wobbly and they're really thin, so they keep moving around and stuff. So it's just not working the way I want them to. That's my next project. Starting Monday, I'm going to make another set of pickup tongs. Got any permanent markers from the forge scale, or does it go away quickly? So all of these guys right here are from forge scale from like not this last week, but the week before. So they do eventually go away over time. Sometimes they go away a lot slower. I did actually, when I was building this guy right here, I was doing some welding and I accidentally got a piece of hot welding wire in my pants. And so I have an inner thigh burn that I still have the scar from. It ended up being a 3rd-degree burn. So always be careful. And where your apron is. I was wearing this apron, but I was kind of standing like so, where my leg was not underneath of the apron. And if I had been paying attention, then I would never have gotten that burn. Yeah. Ouch. It definitely was an ouch. And for about 2 weeks, I had to be very judicious about dressing it and making sure that it didn't get nasty and like worse, I guess. Because at the time I didn't have insurance, so I had to address it myself. I'm pretty good with first aid, but I mean, if you've got insurance and you could afford to go and get that permanent or like professionally dressed, do that. Do that. Sometimes insurance here in the United States is not easy to acquire and it's rather expensive. So, unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have insurance. All right. Take a look at this heat. We're good. We're good. We're good. Let's do this. I'm probably gonna transfer tongs. So we'll do this, and then maybe we'll attempt to kind of grab this a little bit into the hole. We'll see if that works the way we want it to. So I'm really not trying to do a lot of forging or like heavy forging work. I'm mostly trying to kind of make this a little bit prettier. So I'm not doing a full forge blow. That's not too bad. I do want to look at this guy. We'll move this over just a hair. All right. That's good. I'm pretty happy with that. Couple more heats, I think. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do next is I think I'm actually going to, there's some bumping that's happening as I am killing these corners, so I want to straighten out that flat face a little bit. So I think that's probably going to be my next heat. Whew! Doozy of a day. Couple more heats and I will probably raid off. I am almost done with this hammer. We will complete it before I do raid off, but there's only a few more heats that I think are necessary for this guy. So if you guys have anybody that you'd like to visit after this stream, let me know. Otherwise, we will find some people, new friends. So we probably have, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 more heats. It might even be less than that. We shall see. What do you like better, hammers or tongs? Oh, Kenra's on? We can do that if they're still on by the time we get done. We can do that. And do I like hammers better or tongs better? I don't know. Like, are you talking like making them? I make a lot more tongs than I do hammers. This is my very first hammer. I've never made one before. So I'm kind of, I don't know if I like them better or not. I don't feel like I've made enough hammers to make an accurate judge. But yeah. So we've got an ad coming up here shortly. Once that ad is over, I will do another heat. And then we'll do a couple more after that. We'll probably, I want to say 4 more heats, but I'm not positive on that. We'll see. We shall see. So warm. My partner just made it home. So we are on ad time right now, and once that ad is completed, we will do another heat. Like I said, I really want to kind of flatten out the face of the hammer and kind of do a little bit of adjustment on the back end of this hammer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the glove and the drift. So let's set that up. been doing a lot of bending over at the press today. When I have to do the sides on the combo dies, I kind of have to lower the bed, and then I have to like slouch. I feel like a shrimp. All right, guys. Looks like ad time is over, so we are going to do our next heat. See if we can do this. And I'm going to put it on this direction this time. And I forgot to flip my cameras. I'm sorry, guys. All right. That's not bad, actually. All right, and then for our next heat, we're gonna work on the other side. There we go. We're gonna start working on the cross peen a little more. Pretty happy with the face though. Like the main face of this guy. Alrighty. Whew. Very, very warm. Couple more heats though. Then I'll probably have to rate off. I'm starting to get a little bit overheated. We're definitely like within the 2 heats of finishing this hammer though. So I will make sure that we finish that before I go in the house. But yeah. So we're gonna do 2 more heats, I think. And I totally went from 5 heats to 4 heats, and now I'm down to like, 2 more heats instead of, So, I'm sorry, guys. This has been such a fun project. I'm really happy that I actually, bit the bullet and did this project. Like I said, it is a bucket list project for me, but it's something that I always felt like I needed help with. And I think that you guys' help has been instrumental in this project. And I mean, we have learned so much. I have learned so much from this project. So thank you guys for joining me. Your health is more important. Yeah. I do think that within 2 heats, though, I will be done with this piece. So yeah. I just want to do a little bit more on that tail end, and then from there, I think we should be pretty good to go. But yeah, I've had so much fun with this project. I also feel like now that we've gotten so much of our technical issues completed and like fixed up, I feel like I'm a little bit more free to do projects that like I haven't necessarily like gotten down pat. So we can learn. I'm still learning things as I go, but I think that I'm starting to get more confident in, what projects I can do. So that's exciting. Exciting. All right, let's do another heat. go from here. Toss that in there like so. Now, I'm going to move these guys over here. We've had a little bit of fish lipping, and I'm trying to really correct that a bit. That's much better. Now, I wish I could just fix that a little bit, you know? I think if I put the handle on this direction, it should be all right, though. All right, one more heat, guys. We're going to flip it over on the opposite side, and we're going to start hammering from that direction. So we're going to make it go upside down, like that. And then we're going to do one more heat. Alrighty. And the rest I will spend at the grinding wheel. A little bit of extra grinding work, but not too bad. I think this will be really nice. I think that this, I was not expecting to have a well-balanced hammer, but this one actually seems relatively all right. I think that I might have a little bit of trouble with the fact that the cross peen is going down or is angled down a little bit. But I think that'll be all right. I think we can fix it. I think it'll be all right. So we got one more heat. And then we'll pack it in. Whew. So I've got some really crisp edges on that, on the cross peen section. So I'm probably going to spend this heat kind of taking out some of those crisp edges and kind of tapering them off a little bit, or I guess, you know, cutting the sharp corners. Whew. I think that the fan is working well with the capture card, so I think that's our new solution to the capture card not functioning correctly. We'll just aim a fan at it. Oh, I don't have a drink right now. That's all right though. We've only got one more heat. We're good to go. A little bit longer. It's a little on the cold side. But yeah, I am so happy to have done this project. I learned so much, and, you know, I've had fun with you guys. Alrighty, let's do this. One more heat, one more heat. It helps when you have your glove on. Alright. Had to try one more time. All right, guys. This is it. This is our finished hammer. So there it is. We're gonna push it off of the drift. There it goes. All right. Our finished hammer, or I guess our finished forged hammer. We still have a little ways to go on the actual grinder, but I'm pretty happy with it. I think overall it turned out pretty good. So here it is. Thank you all for joining me today. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend this weekend. Thank you so much. All right. And I will have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Lizzie Goose. Thank you for joining us and for that first time chat. Welcome to the community. All right. Is Kanara on? How do I spell that? A-E-H-N. Ooh, No Man's Sky. Interesting. All right, Boozy. Let's meet someone new. Have an amazing weekend, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to showing you the finished hammer. Bye, guys.
Focus of the sun. It's a B class. What?